The Combine enters its final day of drills today, but all the players have spoken with their media availability, so we know almost all of the formal meetings for the Dallas Cowboys. 45 formals, I believe, is the number the teams get. We know 35 of them. Now, I will make note, sometimes there's player forgets, even though we talked to him and didn't remember who he met with formally, or they didn't want to share sometimes, and every now and then they mix up the formal and the informal. The formals are what matter. You get a certain amount of time, and they're often a pretty good indication, at least position groups the team is thinking about taking. So also shout out to Nick Harris, the Cowboys.com writer, who got a lot of these since he was also boots on the ground in Indy. First, before we get into the list, share today's video for me. Help us out. If you liked our Combine coverage, tons of shorts, tons of videos on all things Cowboys here, help us out by sharing today's video right now. Let's go through the offensive line Combine meetings here. First, some noteworthy potential options in round one at offensive tackle. Jordan Morgan out of Arizona. For the most part, the Cowboys' formal meetings focused on those they did not meet with at the Senior Bowl. I think there had been some meetings with Morgan at the Senior Bowl, so do keep that in mind. Arm length concerns there, not their typical prototype at the tackle spot. Could be on the board in round one. I would be all in on Amarius Mims at 24. I think the upside is just incredibly tantalizing, even though he's barely played. He could go top 15. He could go top 25. He'd be a really fun fit. Right tackle at Georgia. He could play on the left side, though. J.C. Latham was a right tackle at Alabama. Curious, what, if any, testing we get from him. He's a big boy. Tyler Guyton, who grew up a Cowboys fan, by the way. Make sure you check out that short on the channel /Instagram at Cowboys Report IG. I think also could flip to the left side. 4 guys to monitor here as potential round one picks at tackle. Then 3 guys, I think maybe potential round one guys. We'll see about Frazier, for day 2. Troy Fautanu, who I think is probably going to be a guard. It could try him at tackle. Some length concerns I think might be verifiable there. We'll get the finalized numbers again later today on Sunday. But could be a guard, could be a tackle. So maybe you figure out which one you want between Tyler Smith, put him in there. Graham Barton might end up being a center, by the way. Zach Frazier will be a center. Barton could also play guard. So those are 7 potential guys to monitor in round one. One of them will be there. Multiple of them will be there. I don't think, maybe Frazier, but I don't think those guys fall to round 2. 4 other guys, probably more later round picks. Well, 3 guys later round picks. Blake Fisher out of Notre Dame, like his upside. Isaiah Adams out of Illinois. Haven't done much work on him. Christian Jones is going to be, I think, a right tackle from Texas. Intriguing piece. Taese Fuaga said he couldn't remember if it was formal or not, and it was all kind of a blur. He's met with a lot of teams. Mims met with 26, by the way. And then it was Fautanu at 28, I think was the number. Just insane numbers there for the meetings. But Fuaga may or may not have been a formal, so we'll put a little asterisk by him of note. Look, offensive line is a big issue for this team. You're reportedly not going to bring back Tyron Smith. We broke that down yesterday here on the channel. That leaves a left side spot open. Biotish might not be back either. I would think there's a very good chance this team goes offensive line in round one, which by no means is sexy. They've got a very good historical track record of nailing that first round pick, and I like this offensive line class. I would be just fine taking top available offensive lineman, whoever it is, figure out the rest later in round one. Do you think that is the path the Cowboys will end up pursuing here? Will they go offensive line in round one? Y for yes, N for no. Go ahead and sound off for me in the comment section of today's video. It is the pinned comment, so if the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. 3 receivers who, maybe they're looking at round 2 receivers here, hoping somebody slides. That could make sense here. 2 Texas boys, Xavier Worthy, A.D. Mitchell. Look, Worthy is fast. We know that. He is skinny. Brian Thomas was not 6'4", by the way. He was actually under 6'3". Still a great athlete, but not quite the listed size from that perspective. Thomas is, I don't think he's going to get to you in round 1. Maybe he does. We'll see about Worthy. Mitchell is maybe round 2 sliders. Could make sense there. Other receivers, Javon Baker, I think will be a day 3 guy, or maybe round 3 guy, day 2 guy. Troy Franklin, maybe he's a slider, and he's fast. Keon Coleman, I think there are some athletic concerns, separation concerns there. Those still remain. Says he's cousins with CeeDee Lamb, by the way, so that sure would be fun. I still don't know if that's like related cousins or like, their families were best friends growing up, so it's his cuz. Like that's kind of a bit of a difference there. I do like Jalen McMillan, by the way, as a day 2 pick as well. I would not anticipate Michael Gallup returning to this team. I would be surprised, barring a pay cut, if he's back. It just doesn't make sense for the Cowboys to try to pursue that path at all. Tolbert and Turpin and Brooks, fine, but if you can get I don't want a receiver. I want a good receiver. So if somebody slides, do your due diligence, know who they are, and consider it. Don't just take someone in round 4 to take someone or round 5 because you kind of already got those guys, I think, to a certain extent. As it's been all week, Game Time has made this Cowboys Combine coverage possible. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. You can see the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive as well. All-in prices show your total up front, so you know you're getting a great deal without the hidden fees. You can buy tickets in seconds with just 2 taps. Game Time, by the way, has deals and tickets right to the start of the event, even an hour after it starts. So it's the best spot out there for flash deals, sponsored deals, tickets on football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. They're giving you $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app, create your account, and use code CowboysChat for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply, but create your account and redeem code CowboysChat. That's COWBOYSCHAT for $20 off. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. Over now to the running backs. Trey Benson, incredible sub 4.4 unofficial, at least as I last saw. 40-yard dash time. He's going to be RB1. Probably goes off the board between your first-round pick and your second-round pick, but deep free agency class, maybe you get a little bit lucky there and they slide. Audric Estime, these guys are all bigger backs, but they're all above, they're all 210 or heavier. That's what makes Benson's time so impressive. Audric Estime did not run well. 4.7 40. That's not great. Braylon Allen did not run, by the way, which I'm not surprised by. I don't think he would have run. I don't think it would have been 4.7s, but I think if he was lucky, he was going to be mid 4.5s, which is fine. He's a bigger back. It's not the end of the world. Ray Davis ran a mid 4.5s. That's a really good time for him, by the way. Jalen Wright, sub 4.4 as expected. He's a freak. Trend here, bigger back. Some juice in there with Wright and Benson, make no mistake. But I wouldn't be shocked if, late day 2, early day 3, or I guess mid day 3 with no 4th-round pick, Dallas looks towards the running back market. Because Tony Pollard and Rico Dowdle are both free agents. I was told that the Cowboys met with Pollard's agent, I should say, whatever it is, on Friday nights, along with the Smith and Beato. So I don't know if that one had been reported, but I'm doing a journalism. Rico Dowdle, since we did see the bus going back from the night out on Friday night, the Cowboys have their spot. They like to meet with agencies and agents, which I always think is funny. Not with the normal people. They're off in a private room because they're the Jones boys. Anyway, Pollard, Dowdle, free agents. I'd be a little surprised if both were back, frankly. Even if they are, at least the Dowdle deal is not going to be a guaranteed deal. What do you think is the biggest need for the Dallas Cowboys? Maybe it's now the offensive line after the Tyron Smith reported departure in free agency. Go ahead and sound off for me in the comments section. Some defensive line combine meetings here. I think Mason Smith is somebody a lot of teams are going to meet with. They're going to try to figure out, okay, hey, what's going on here? You're a very talented guy. You never produced the way we wanted to name the monitor on, maybe day 3. I don't know. Late day 2. McKinley Jackson, Tavondre Sweat are both bigger, hulking, run-stopping nose guards. Neither guy blew up the combine, although Sweat I thought had the best interview of anybody. Really funny, personable player. He'll get along well with the media and the coaches too, by the way. But they're not premium athletes. There's maybe Sweat in the second, maybe Jackson in the third. This is not Jordan Davis or Vita Vea-esque players here. Rook Arororo, again, ignore the first R. It's, as the pronunciation guide and he himself said, it's row, like row your boat is what he always says. 3 technique. I know you're traumatized by Chris Jenkins. He'd be a 3 technique too. But I know it's Michigan. I know you guys can handle it. DTs, meanwhile, I don't expect Neville Gallimore to return. Oso Digizu was under contract for another year. He's a good player. We'll see what they do with guys like Chauncey Golston and Junior Fayoko. Those guys could be base ends or DTs. I'm not really sure yet there. I want to get at least one defensive tackle help stop the run. That could be Hankins. It could be a Grover Stewart. It could be somebody else in free agency. Neville Gallimore as well. I will say, coming out of Indy, I'm nervous about Mozzie Smith. I'm nervous. I don't. I'm more nervous than I was going in. We'll see. We'll see. Hit that sub button, and I think we'll talk more about Mozzie in the future. Hit that sub button if you haven't already for more free Cowboys YouTube videos. We are close to 185K. Let's get there before tomorrow's live show. Over to linebackers, only a couple. I think you will see more in the 30 visit category. I know they met with a bunch at the Senior Bowl too, by the way. So sometimes they kind of, what some teams try to do oftentimes is match the Senior Bowl meetings with the Combine meetings, since you're not going to get all the same players there. There's some overlap here, make no mistake. Edgerrin Cooper I think would be a great fit for Mike Zimmer's defense. If he's there in the second, I'm all aboard with that pick there. Same with Peyton Wilson, as long as the medicals check out. Junior Colson, I wish he'd be a little bit more physical, but he's a good football player too. And then Tyron Hopper out of Missouri as well. We'll see what the Cowboys end up doing with linebacker. We didn't do the video on it because the Tyron Smith breaking news stuff happened. Maybe we'll do it Monday. I would be surprised if Leighton Vander Esch didn't retire this offseason. I think that's all the comments publicly, privately I've heard. It's time. Look, the next a big deal. They'll let the Cowboys, or they'll let Vander Esch go about kind of announcing, handling, all that stuff there. So then it leaves Clark, Overshown. I think Marquise Bell goes back to safety. You're going to need 2 to 3 linebackers between the free agency process and the draft. In fact, if you don't sign a free agent linebacker, you might have to take one early and one later. So will the Cowboys double dip at a position? And if you want to count offensive line as one spot, that works too. 1 for yes, they will. 0 for no, they will not. Cornerbacks here, Nate Wiggins, skinny guy, but also fits kind of that Emmanuel Forbes mold that the Cowboys were more interested in, although he doesn't have the length that Forbes did. We'll see how the change in DCs help that out. Zimmer's had some skinny corners. He's a blazer. I do like his game. I don't know if he'll be there for you, but it's worth watching. Kamari Lassiter tested pretty darn well. I don't know about the first for him, but maybe between your first and second round pick. Tampa and Carson could be fun picks. By the way, I actually like this cornerback class the more and more I get into it. I keep finding guys I like. Top 100, there's going to be a bunch of guys on my board who end up playing corner. You got to figure out what to do with Stephon Gilmore, Jordan Lewis at cornerback, by the way. Diggs and Bland will be back, but you want at least one more starter because you're going to be in nickel still 65, 70% of the time, whatever. It's all worth monitoring. So corner is an area to monitor here for the Dallas Cowboys.